What's going on, my friends? I'm Rick. You're not. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Hey, all 4 or 5 of you, the guys that are regular visitors and regular viewers of my channel, awesome. Y'all the top band, man, y'all. Because, we're going to hit 100 channel. We're going to hit 100 videos on this channel before I get maybe another subscriber. And I think probably half of those subscribers are probably people who subscribed 5 years ago and completely forgot they did. So don't tell, because 10's better than none, right? It's still getting my word out. It's still getting the chance to get my voice out. Look, I don't know what y'all know about this new Speaker of the House, but I don't know a whole hell of a lot about him. It's what I don't know, or what I do know about the type of person he is that bothers me probably more than anything else. And this comes in a couple ways. I think this is important to make a couple points here. One, there is a level of religious fanaticism in the Christian church that rivals any kind of fanaticism we see in Islam or any number of other religions out there. And they're no less wicked and evil because of it. In many cases, that's what makes them even more dangerous, because men like Mike Johnson really truly believes that what he's saying. He really truly believes on a core level what he's saying when it comes to his stances on a lot of issues. And you should take that verbatim. Take that as a guaranteed. This man truly believes what he says. And if you listen to more and more about what's coming out of what he's said in the past, really important to pay attention. Because this man truly believes that it should not only should be, abortion should be illegal, it should be criminal. And you should be put to hard labor. Not only should gay and lesbian relationships be banned, they should be illegal. You should be put to hard labor, or indoctrinated, or worse. Ask yourself that. Just how far this person's willing to take something. Now, see, that's another animal. That's the thing about this kind of guy, right? For starters, I grew up in a Christian church, Pentecostal Christian church, surrounded by a whole lot of people just like this fella. Some of them were fervent than others. Some of them were determined than others. This fella's determined. He wouldn't be in the position that he's in right now. Then there's something else going on here that I think is even more dangerous. And nobody seems to, none of the mainline video news channels or stuff to this point has noticed this. In my opinion, right, is that circumstances has favored Representative Johnson a lot. Now, if you don't want to buy any, let's not go into any conspiracy theory crap, because there's always room for conspiracies. But circumstance. So he runs for a public office, and I believe it was a lesser local office he ran first, and his district, he ran unopposed. Nobody cared enough to want to run against him. Nobody cared enough to want the position, whatever it was. So he's granted this position by the will of God. That's important to consider. In his mind, it was God decided he meant to have that position. And he's there to do God's will. So he's speaking for God, because God put him there to put him in that position to do this. In his mind, this is what this type of person will really truly go on in the back of their brain, in the corner. Then it doesn't stop there, does it? He gets reelected for the same office with no opposition. Nobody ran against him. And then it's my understanding that when he went to run for the speaker, or the House position from his district in Louisiana, it was also uncontested. Now, it's hard for me to even know where to go on what that speaks of his district. So the average representative in the House is supposed to represent something in the range of about 800,000 people. So he represents a district with 800,000 people in it. And out of those 800,000 people, not one other person decided they want to run for a public office just because it's an office and it's a job. And there's a lot of perks for being a politician. especially the higher up you go. You know, stepping stones, my friends. So anyway, no opposition. So in his eyes, God gave him the position because this is where he's destined to be, his destiny. So he gets his first elected position almost pretty much just handed to him. Then he's allowed to get it, handed to him a second time. He then goes for a higher position, and it basically is handed to him. It's just given to him. Three freebies. Most people would have, to get in that position, most politicians would have had to work to get at. And for every successful bid to be a politician, how many times do you lose? How many people run to be president and then run again in 4 years and then run again in 4 years after that? Not very many. And it's a lot of money. The same thing happens in the governor's office and the senator and the House of Representatives. It's all a similar scenario. So when somebody has that many freebies, and we don't believe in conspiracies or anything like that, somehow somebody engineering the pathway for this gentleman to just conveniently ease his way up higher and higher. And then suddenly out of nowhere, and I mean literally out of nowhere, this gentleman is elected Speaker of the House. This puts this guy 2 spots away from being, so he's basically the third guy in line to run the country. So if something terrible happens to Biden and Harris, he's the man in charge by default. No, I don't believe in any conspiracies. There's nothing here to see here. Nothing to see here. So, we got a guy who's truly in his soul believes he's on a mission from God. And the God's put him in the position he's supposed to be in for him to enact all the things he believes he needs to do. One of his first statements as Speaker of the House was praising his wife, his dutiful wife, for spending the last 2 weeks on her knees at home. And her knees are sore. Despite the fact that he has to know that there's a sense of humor. That's a dark bit of sexual humor there, Chuckles. Mike, if you didn't catch that, I find that hard to buy. So, this man, ladies, will have you back in the damn kitchen with no shoes on, pregnant and barefoot, until you can't do it no more. That's what this man would have you do. This man believes that a big reason that we have so many mass shootings in this country is because the social morals of home have collapsed and that they have no better energies or directions or anything of this. So for a party who believes in minimal government, less government the better, sure are hell-bent on making sure that they dominate your life and how you do things. So not only would Speaker Johnson believes we should get rid of gay and lesbian, or gay marriage, period. Outlaw sodomy and any other gay-related activity. He would make it criminal. It was at one time. You go back far enough, not too damn many decades ago in our history books, and find out in a lot of states, a lot of this stuff was illegal. Could get you in prison, get you a morals charge. All right. He would also reduce the women's right to vote. There's a talk about a conspiracy. There's agendas there, and there's agendas. There's multiple layers of agendas going on at all times and all days, and every layer, all parties, etc. Amongst all that hodgepodge mess of different agendas and plans and concepts and ideas and wishes and wants and dreams of these power mad maniacs, there's a group of people in there that truly believe that too many women vote Democrat. And because you vote Democrat, you need to not be allowed to vote. It's the same reason why they're doing everything they can to diminish the African Americans' ability to vote. Because too many African Americans vote Democrat. It's not hard to see that. This is the guy that would eliminate women from the workplace. This is a guy who would eliminate your right to own property. This is a guy that would he flat out says it. Big part of the problem with shootings and stuff in America is because women can get divorced. that women have the right to get divorced. Now, for all y'all that don't pay attention to shit or don't care about shit, wasn't all that many years ago it was like that. Now, it wasn't in my lifetime or your lifetime, but it wasn't too many generations ago that women did not vote, could not own property, could not divorce their husband. They took it was the husband's decision whether divorce was going to happen or not. And in the eyes of the law, that would, your only other choice was to run away. I don't make it up. That's the fact. So this guy's a dangerous person on many levels. The other thing that really steps out for me, what do I know? I'm just dumbass, average Joe American redneck wannabe farm boy from Iowa, with just a little bit enough education in college to make me dangerous in the eyes of some people, but not enough to get me a decent, a six-figure job. I would be grateful for a single six-digit job. I mean, Jesus, $100,000 a year job, man, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. That would literally double my income. That's never going to happen. So, what I don't like about this kind of guy, and if you really paid attention, none of us noticed this until suddenly somebody did point this out. But a lot of the major events recently, since this guy got into office, he's been behind, the big push to decertify Biden's election. There was a number of different things he was related to in that. He was also a massive election denier. So he's a big, for a guy who's extremely Christian, morally based. Isn't it convenient how this kind of guy can twist his faith to justify some pretty heinous stuff to get the results he feels you should live by? This man would tell you how to live. This man would tell you how to act in your bedroom. This man is a terrible, terrible person. And this man is a hypocrite. And a hypocrite in the worst kind of way. Because he truly believes his hypocrisy. He believes in the Christian values when it's convenient for his goals, his desires, his beliefs. Not as in his belief, but as in Mike Johnson's take on things. Like I said, I grew up with a church full of these people. A lot of them in my family when I was younger. Most of them have moved on and now know the great mysteries of the universe. Or they don't. None of them come back and let me know about it. So, just saying. This guy's been in the background. Do you know what made Hitler so damn dangerous? It wasn't Hitler himself. Hitler himself was a piece of work. I'm not going to deny that. But as an enabler of policy, Hitler was not the engines that drove the horrific shit that the Nazi Party did to people. The Jews took the brunt of it, but they were not by any means the least amount. A whole lot of people don't talk about just how many Russians were tortured and died in prison camps and work camps by the millions in the hands of the Nazis. We don't talk about that. We talk about the Jews because the Jews was the Holocaust, right? Well, you know what? The only difference was that the Jews actually got it. I hate to break it. I'm going to be really unpopular at this moment. The Jews got off easy. When you compare how a lot of them got off real easy. They got literally shipped to a damn camp, stripped down, put into a damn gas changer, and they died. Yeah, horrible things. Horrible things. The Russians, on the other hand, hundreds of thousands of Russian troops are captured, put into work camps and into labor camps and into just prisoner of war camps, and then starved to death. A lot of them just literally starved to death or died of disease. I think the numbers is like 9 out of 10 died that way. So they died you know, a lot of Jews died that way too, and it's horrific. But my point getting at is the Jews were not the only people that died, and then you add all the others, so all the political victims and all the social victims, because like I said over and over again, the people behind Hitler were far more dangerous than Hitler himself. That's what makes a guy like Trump so goddamn dangerous. Trump himself is a moron. I hate this. Hey, I'm just being honest. He has no. He's been. How he's got to be where he's at in the first place has got more to do with money and the power that money gives you than any other damn thing. Because he's got no. If he'd have half the brain, if Trump had this man's brains, we would not have Biden as president right now. Trump would be president. Probably legally voted in, and would be working very, very, very tirelessly to eliminate that pesky 2-term limit. Because, you know, I predict if Trump managed to get elected a second time, before the end of his second four-year term, he's going to be already agitating that he should be allowed to run for a third term because he got cheated out of he got cheated out of something. Even if he didn't get cheated by, if he won against Biden, he would still be saying he got screwed somehow, and that we should not have a limit on how many terms a president can serve. And he would move hell and high water to change it. And you know what? Who would do most of the working? Guy like this guy. So if you look at a lot of those big votes and those big things going on, this guy was sitting in the background, kind of quiet, kind of smarmy looking, kind of shisty. There's something. This guy, you look at that smug, self-righteous, I know what everything is and where everything's supposed to be and why everything's wrong, and if you only would bend your knees and kiss God's ass, things would be so much better for everybody. Yeah, so keep that in mind, America. America, the land of the free, the land, home of the brave, the diverse populations that we are. The Christian faith has long been in decline, and that's the cold hard facts of life. They have, and there's a number of factors involved in this. Let's start with the increasing numbers of other distinct ethnic groupings in America. The Asian population has grown, the Hispanic population has grown, the African American population has stayed about the same, but the point is that all combined, they are now outnumbering the white class yahoos, the white folks in America by a significant number. And to say that only white people are Christians is bullshit, because I can tell you a whole lot of African American, a whole lot of black folk I know are devout Christians. And I know quite a few people who are Catholic, which are still a form of Christian. It's just the semantics of how they proceed, how they pursue their religion. This fella here and the Christian nationals that here, we don't know that he's actually a Christian national. He hasn't, to my knowledge, he hasn't officially been labeled as one, but it would not surprise me. He's definitely in their camp. He definitely has leanings towards a lot of what they believe. And so this guy here would put Christians like Marjorie Taylor Greene going on about crying about that this church should rule the country, that the American population, the American democracy should be a theocracy. Oh, you really don't freaking understand what that is. Most Americans have no clue what really that means. We see descriptions and we see commentary and very brief video bites on places like Iran that is a theocracy. By every definition of the frickin' term, the Iranian people are ran by their church, by their clerics. Because if the politicians don't do what the clerics tell them to do, they're gonna disappear. They're gonna die, and that's the way they run things. That's how you want America to operate? You really want these people to tell you what you can and can't do? Because they won't stop. They literally, they keep referring to this the Handmaid's Tales and stuff. I haven't seen that. This is a series or a movie. I haven't seen it. It's not really my thing, but I can understand it, which is probably why I didn't want to see it. Because I've seen other versions similar to it. It's not the first time that they've done video or TV series and movies and stuff along them venues. This guy would actually put you in that position. Yeah. This isn't. McCarthy was I don't know. McCarthy was a smarmy politician who was worthless. I get you. McCarthy sold his soul to get that damn speaker office, and put himself in a position to be voted out by one individual. That's on him. Then he cried the whole time that the Democrats, it's the fault of the Democrats. Well, the Democrats would have just stepped up and defended me if they would have voted for me like they could. Well, the problem is McCarthy, and you fucking well know this. Your whole damn party's been promoting this for quite a while now. It's us. It's all against us against them mentality. So by every measure of the Republican Party, the Democrats did the right thing. They can't vote for you because you would never, since when was the Republican Party ever going to vote for a Democrat for any kind of position? Never. So much for any kind of compromise or seeing the greater value. Because I can tell you what, there was a couple possibilities that I wish had got brought up, and that the Democrats had stepped up and voted for just to shut the bank crowd down. But they didn't, and here's the result of it. This guy, and I'm not so sure that I think we got off. Jim Jordan would have been a corrupt asshole, an incompetent, corrupt asshole. This guy's got too much unknown shit, and what is known is very horrific. This is not going to get better. The only saving grace currently we have is that we have a very marginal lead in the Senate, and we have a Democratic president. So pretty much anything gets said that these people push through the House, they're going to push through some crazy shit. And they're going to do it full well knowing that it's going to get shut down at the other end. But they're going to do it so it gets on record that they did it. And they're going to keep doing it until they actually start getting some of the insane shit they want. Right? Now, I thought about it pretty long and hard the last few days about this concept. About so many Republicans really, since the very beginning of the concept of Social Security and Medicare, came out of the Depression area, the 1920s, early mid-30s, and it was part of the FDR's effort to try to get America going again, to get the country really off of its back, and put it back into the position of being a leader of the world. And to do that, he had to bolster the American people itself. The American population were so beat down, had been so decimated from the greed of the corporate side of shit, that it was just the time to turn things around. And we're at that point now. I'm just being honest. We are at a crucial point in Americans' rotation of how things go, and it's about time that the workers start getting things going in their favor for the next decade or two. And guess who needs to pay for it? The company, the CEOs and companies making 300-400 times the average American worker that works for their company. Companies that are record profits and record costs. They've raised the prices of everything, and now they got record profit too. And then they act like we're all stupid. I mean, come on, man. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. You're being fucked over. You're being screwed, America. You're being screwed by these fat cat bastards who control Washington. How much of it did they control this guy, though? I'm sure that there's some extremely wealthy far-right groups out there, individuals, that'll bankroll this guy because they see a lot of opportunity here. One of them being, a complete reorganization of the workforce by eliminating a lot of people from it, starting with women. Let's get women out of the workforce. Let's get those ethnic people back into the lower rungs of the workforce, because that's where they belong. That's what they're thinking. And when they're not thinking that, they're thinking about all the problems with our country today. It's because we've lost our way. We don't have faith. We don't believe in God. We're not in fear of God's words. Or you're misguided. So the rest of you people who are not Christian better give up your faith and get on board with Christianity, because this guy would kill you. Yeah, I hear about the Hamas and Hezbollah and 100 other damn terrorist groups over the decades, and they all got a lot of these the Middle Eastern versions of these ethnic groups are just as horrific as anything we can imagine, except we tend to forget over and over again just how horrific Christians can be too. Isn't it? History's full of it. And there's damn good reasons why so many, there's so much bad blood between the Islamic portion of the world and the Western portion of the Western portion of the world, because that sort of crap. And this guy, he had the head of the pack with this. When this guy got elected, I couldn't help but see the parody from Star Wars. This Senator Palatine gets elected to be Chancellor of the Republic to save it at a crucial time, to save it from itself, save it from many terrible things that were going on. This guy, in the stories, in the books, in the canon from Star Wars, was basically an obscure, little-known senator from a out-of-the-way, not overly known world, who was liked by everybody, who seemed to be pretty mild about everything, and pretty receptive to just about anybody's ideas. And then he goes on to form the First Galactic Empire, tries to kill off all the Jedi, and we know the whole story. Well, if you don't, then you're not a Star Wars guy. But I'm telling you, be scared of this guy. If he has any kind of success as Speaker of the House, he's not going anywhere. And by the sounds of it, his district is so disconnected from the rest of the country that they don't even bother. Nobody, out of 800,000 people, only him. Nobody else wanted to try for a public position. Oh, that's terrible, right? Geez, anybody could have stepped up and stepped into that opportunity and at least made an attempt. And this guy wholly believes that God has him on a mission. Listen to what he's saying. Hear what he's saying. Listen to it. Hear what he's saying. Yeah, we not gonna be. I don't know. I just don't know. Anyway.